Again, somebody else's conversation.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the council meeting on the 20th of August 2024. We'll begin the meeting if everybody is happy and content. First of all, I would like to begin with paying my respects to the traditional and original owners of this land and Mamarina people, to pay respect to those who have passed before us and to acknowledge today's Aboriginal community who are custodians of this land. Any apologies for tonight's meeting? No? Not have anything? Declarations of pecuniary interests? No? Right, we might move on to 5.0, confirmation of the minutes of the 16th of July 2024. The recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 16th of July 2024 be confirmed. Can I have Melinda Reid and Councillor Larkins? Thank you. Item 6 on the agenda, the Mayor's report. Can I just make a couple of amendments or additions to this report, please? Melinda Reid was with me at the Legat conference in Devonport, and earlier this week, Melinda and I met again with Helen Burnett from the Queen's Party. So, can I have somebody to move? Councillor Larkins, Councillor Campbell. Thank you. Anybody, any questions? Councillor Larkins.
The promotion of the cat sexing program with 10 lives. How did that go?
It was interesting. I was not a cat person, most people know, but I was really impressed with the 10 live setup. We got a guided tour around the centre. Yep. What they plan to do is amazing. What they are doing is equally amazing and very sensible. Visited the operating theatre, and yeah, the care and sensible approach to cat welfare and cat well-being, as well as owner well-being, was really on point, and I was very impressed. Yeah, and it was my first TV experience really in the role of advocating for a collaboration, and it was very well received. The whole program's been well received, so it's looking good.
Awesome, thank you.
Like where the Taswater meeting, did they countenance the possibility of treated water for the southern beaches in the next century?
The point of the meeting was to talk about collaborations between Taswater, or possible collaborations between Taswater and various organisations to support them. Initially, we were talking about neighbourhood houses and how Taswater could support, organisations as a sort of in a donation sense, and labour sense to the organisations. we did briefly touch on the areas without sewer and water. It's a long way down the track, if there is a track currently, because of the infrastructure required, and they are looking at possibilities, alternatives, but that's as far as we got with that subject.
Thank you.
Yeah, through the mayor, the conversation with McDonald's and the renovations there, could you just walk us through that?
This particular franchise owner took over about a year ago, I think, and they've redecorated and updated inside, just the decor, the basic stuff. And they're looking at redeveloping the whole building to bring it up to date and increase the kitchen output and put new appliances in, and so there's a whole redesign.
Yeah.
And because it is a McDonald's, there is a standard sort of franchise format.
Yeah.
And they would like a bigger site, but that is currently not possible.
Right.
So that we were talking about how they can improve the site on the current footprint, and talked about traffic issues on the road when there's a backlog of traffic around McDonald's.
Okay.
So
And what do they do for their young trainees and young staff and the wellbeing?
they have a training program
Okay.
that can lead to international recognition.
Right.
And they have one staff member who did actually go to Italy on their behalf. And it's an accredited training program that they go through, which is widely recognised.
Yeah.
This is if they want to, and they're encouraged and supported to.
Yeah.
In terms of wellbeing, they have all the employees have access, regardless of age, have access to an EAP, Employment Assistance Program, where if they need to source odd wellbeing support services, they can do through that. And these particular owners, and I don't know whether it's standard across the franchise branch, but their employees can use both Rosny and Sorell as a safe place
Okay.
if they need to go to outside of their working hours. And that seems to be appreciated by the younger members of staff.
Yeah.
Who, for whatever reason, need support or a safe space.
Yeah. Have they made any moves towards the Sorell school at all, the senior secondary element in that for employees, or created any connections or links with them?
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay.
no. They would welcome them.
Right.
And Sorell School does provide a lot of, well, students, there's a lot of students out of Sorell that go there.
Yeah.
I don't know of any direct links between
Okay.
the two.
Good. Thank you.
Any more? Councillor Reid.
Okay, thank you. The Hobart Airport Community Consultative Group, what were the outcomes from that meeting?
It was an update on the extension to the airport in general, the general renovations and how they're looking to change the runway. So there's going to be a period of works on the runway. They're going to try and do the runway works at night, so there's minimum disruption to the flights. And there was a briefing on the current air flight trials coming through. And there was a few queries from the other members around the table about various anomalies to those trials and the investigations into when a plane had flown at a non-standard time or a non-standard route. So it's a two-way conversation between community and the Air Force Services.
Thank you.
Councillor Campbell.
I was just wondering how your meeting with Jane Howlett went and what was the discussion around the needs of women as well.
I ran through with her the basic needs as a community and our current wish list, and much of which she was aware of because she spends a lot of time in the community. And then the conversation sort of circled more towards the young people in Sorell and education and the needs for education and appropriate education and services, the needs of the local industries as well, and bolstering the school basically and linking it to training beyond Sorell. So that was that conversation.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No? Can I put that report for acceptance then, please? All those in favour? Unanimous. Right. Supplementary items, item 7, the council resolves by absolute majority to deal. We don't need that. Okay, we don't need that. Okay. Item number 8, council workshop reports. Spinelli. On to item number 11, page 4, work group reports. Recommendation that the work group reports are listed and be received. Can I have someone to nominate this? Councillor Nichols and Councillor Wood. Open for discussion. Councillor Larkins.
How did your conversation with the Destination Southern Tasmania CEO, how did that go? Sorry, through the chair to Rob.
Yeah, through the mayor. That's Alex Arawa, who's been the CEO for a few years now. He's an exceptional operator. It was to touch base. We stay in contact with each other regularly throughout the year, and it was around they're a membership-funded organisation. We're a member of them, so he was wanting to review last year's action list or strategic targets between the two organisations and discussions around that. So that was the main reason why we caught up, but I'm going to arrange for him to provide a briefing to council in the not too distant future, just around what these two are up to and what's happening in the tourism market and what it means for us, and also with some recent discussions around what Sorell's function is in the tourism and visitation world or realm. So I think that'll be helpful. Is an absolute encyclopedia of relevant information about sort of understanding your role and your function and how to best to manage that or to facilitate it. So that was just the main purpose of the discussion with Alex.
Thank you.
They have their AGM coming up in late September at Iron Creek this year, which is good for us. But the mayor's been invited, so make a guest appearance if possible.
Thank you.
Councillor Mark.
Thank you. A question for Mr. Higgins, please. On page 4, there's a mention of, met with red huntfish research teams, state and federal environmental agency reps. Would you be so kind to expand on that?
Yeah, through the mayor. That was with Dibas Panther and myself a couple of weeks ago, and it was interesting because I thought it was just going to be with the handfish team and a state agency rep around a draft standard operating procedure we're developing with the handfish team around how we manage water levels until we determine a final permanent solution. Was sort of slightly surprised when the meeting commenced. It was a team's meeting, and there were many people from a number of state agencies and federal EPBC agency as well. And it wasn't just about the standard operating procedure, it was about the whole project, which is fine. Had I known that, I would have had our planning manager present as well, who knows the stat processes better than I do, but it was still a really good opportunity for me to explain, and there was also a number of members of the handfish team as well, scattered around the country. So it was a really good opportunity to explain the backstory and the history and where we've progressed to and where the current DA and project is at and why it's on hold pending further consideration. So it was certainly useful and made some good contacts in those various agencies who obviously have their own processes to run and wanting to be involved in how the SOP is developed and managed as well, which I wasn't expecting, but we can deal with that. So
May I ask what the SO?
standard operating procedures.
Oh, yeah,
So basically it's just how there was, knowing there was still some months from having a resolution as to what the final outcome is or the final solution is to managing water levels, we still have an ongoing risk of how we deal with water levels if they're going up, go up, and the fact we have that existing small PVC outlet to the beach and the more extreme approach of mechanically excavating an exit out to the beach. So through the handfish team, they were wanting to explore that with us as far as what our triggers are for doing one or the other and giving them as much warning as we can if we're going to do one or the other. Certainly one's far less invasive or has the potential to have far less impact than the other to the handfish habitat in particular. So that's been formed up, but we haven't finalised it now that there's other entities involved. We'll go through that process, but just trying to get clarity around if I'm not at council that there's a procedure in place that whether it's Dave Ridden from the depot who's the work group manager for stormwater or stormwater supervisor, Josh Young, that they know absent myself or Russell being here, they know what to do and how to do it and when to do it. So it's just a bit of a risk management approach for us and for the benefit of the handfish research team.
Thank you.
It was a long answer, sorry. But it's been a long project.
Anyone else? Councillor.
Thank you. Through there, the meeting with the Parks and Wildlife Service management. Could you please outline what that was? How that
Certainly.
went?
Through the mayor, that's with the DEPSEC and the acting general manager. They initiated the meeting, which was really good. It was principally around the Lewisham foreshore situation, around sort of from China Creek north back towards Lewisham, where there's some fairly severe foreshore erosion that's taken place and a variety of man-made structures that have been put there over time. So they're just giving me a briefing on the dealings with the landowners through there and how they're proposing to approach that current issue. And whilst I had them corralled, we talked about some other matters of interest between us, with beach access at Connolly's and Primrose, plus some other operational matters around access points generally across the Crown foreshore, and letting them know that we're doing a review of our old but still fairly current foreshore access strategy, and also that we're looking to get some clarity around some other opportunities that might impact their land holdings, principally around the coast.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Could I just ask, apart from taking away some of the structures that have been there for a long time, I have seen a few things coming through on social media. Are they planning to do anything about the erosion? Is there anything on the
Through the mayor, they're certainly planning to plant out a lot of the embankment to stabilise that right up on top, if you like. There's sort of two bodies of work that have been done by independents, the one by Parks and one that the owners have commissioned around how to provide a more permanent solution to the issue. The position of Parks is that they won't be, or unable to fund that or facilitate that, but it's certainly something where if the owners wish to do, they can do so. That obviously comes at a fair expense per property, potentially impact the property. But that's the position of the state is that they won't be undertaking those works or funding those works.
So they'll give permission to the residents then to do some works. Is that?
Through the mayor, obviously need to be a properly considered project and plan and scope that goes with it. We could go through a formal assessment process to do works on Crown land, and if they're content with what's proposed and how to control it, they'd issue a permit. But then it's a matter of the owners having to finance those works and presumably control the construction. I'm not sure how the details are working on keep the trees. I didn't volunteer our services to manage that project. I hope you don't mind.
No, I just know there's a lot of concern down there with a lot of the
Yes,
residents.
it's not an easy situation to
No,
resolve.
I totally agree.
It's becoming quite significant in some parts along that little stretch of coast.
Anybody else? Councillor Marissa, is that half an
Okay, yes, thank you. But it's from page 32. Is that okay to go? I think it's still on what we're.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So I don't know if these questions for Mr. Higgins or about environmental management and pollution control. There is a couple there I'm interested in finding out a little bit more. We've heard a lot about noise and smoke coming out of a business. I'm sorry, not smoke, smell, odor coming out of a business. I was wondering if that found a resolution. It says here that it has agreed to undertake works. 32, I'm sorry, 32. So it says EHO has followed on ongoing odor complaint from a food business. The owner has agreed to undertake works to reduce the nuisance to neighbors. So this is something that's been going on for a while.
Going through it's just fortuitous that our health compliance manager's tucked in the background. If you don't mind,
Perfect.
if you don't mind, Greg,
That's okay.
to sure you know about this.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Mayor, if I may answer that question. Yes, our environmental health officer has been in regular dialogue with the operator of the business. I can't provide you with a specific solution that they can come up with. I know Rachel has spoken to them recently, but I think the options that would be explored is whether the flue would be extended in height to improve dispersion or some form.
Is it the stuck?
Yeah, the stack, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I think what's probably more likely is I look at some form of in-line filter in there to improve. But I don't believe any works have occurred yet.
Okay.
There's certainly been regular dialogue. One of the challenges has been, obviously working out what the solution is. But one of the obstacles has always been able to, as a statutory officer, witness the odour, which is scientific. But there was an occasion not too long ago where both Rachel and Natalie were sort of in the area, did go down at the time when they were cooking and did witness the odour and could confirm at that time that it was of a nature that was offensive and I suppose sort of helped to substantiate the evidence to take some action if required. So
Great. It's good to know that.
it isn't going away, it's just been an odour complaint that we will challenge sometimes to resolve and work out a solution.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
While we're on that page 32, the waste management report, it's interesting and really pleasing to see that the green waste bin was so successful in its first collection. collecting almost twice the tonnage of the bulk monthly green waste collection. 38% participation rate to create that amount of waste. So I believe that's very successful for first collection. So yeah, that's really pleasing to see. That's just a comment. We've got any more questions?
Yeah, just, we're up 11.6 about the Red Ochre beach access. Just wondering what are the next steps? We've got a fairly positive comment where it says footpaths on page 36. It says consultation and application to various government departments is continuing. Its current scope is based on a ramp to better protect the Red Ochre Bank, and which has received Crown land owner approval. Feedback from the Aboriginal community to this current scope is pending. So what does that mean for the project?
Through the Mayor, we've engaged with an Aboriginal consultant on the scope that's been formed up, which is the ramp, the constructed ramp. So we're just basically waiting for hopefully for consent to come back for that design approach, and hopefully we'll be in a position to actually construct it.
Right, okay, great, thank you.
Anything else? No? Can I have a show of hands for those in acceptance of the report, please? Majority. Thank you. Moving on to item 12, petitions being actions. No change there.
If I may, Mayor,
Yeah.
I've just further updated the status on both, just the detail within both. What you would see next meeting is that there'll be one remaining here, which would be the Blue Lagoon matter. The other two, effectively the process is concluded and there's no further action I'm able to take on behalf of council, so they would come out of that part of the agenda, out of that table, and we'll be making sure, we notify the petitioners of what the outcomes are and that they're aware, because it's gone through the two mandatory statutory steps. You can see in the middle column, the initial meeting and then the follow-up meeting, so I just thought there's really no need to be there anymore, and we'll provide a written summary to the petitioner so they're aware. We'll just have that one remaining matter.
Sorry, may I ask a little bit? I'm sorry, for Mr. Higgins. What you're saying is that the access to Cornelius Marsh, is that yet? So you finished the investigation and talking to everyone involved, and is that correct?
Yes, from there. So the outcome from the 16th of May council meeting, May of last year, was around us approaching Crown to consider various matters as it's their beach, and between the secretary, the secretary of NRE, the deputy secretary of Parks, and the acting general manager of Parks, and they've all been consistent with what they will be doing with that beach, and at this stage all it will be is the provision of some additional signage at the entrance point to the beach, and beyond that, they're not going to take any further action. So I just thought, for the benefit of all parties, I've sort of exhausted what I can, given we don't have jurisdiction over the beach. I actually spoke to a resident who was one of the petitioners last week, who was just checking in, who told me I was able to provide her the update, but we'll certainly write with a summary to those petitioners that actually lodged the petition. So there was, for comments, there's a few that were the petitioners. There's obviously a number who were sign the petition, but we're only obliged to deal with those who submit it, so we'll do that. Make sure they're clear on what has happened and what needs to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Um, 14.1, page 46. The recommendation, the minutes of the Sorell Planning Authority. Oh, sorry. The Mayor advised in accordance with the provisions of Part 2 Regulation 25 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015, the intention of the Council to act as planning authority pursuant to the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 is to be noted. In accordance with Regulation 25, the Council will act as a planning authority in respect of those matters appearing under item 14 on this agenda, inclusive of any supplementary items. 14.1, Sorell Planning Authority minutes. The recommendation that the minutes of the Sorell Planning Authority meeting of 6th of August 2024 be noted. Can I have a Councillor Terenius and Councillor Reid? All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 15, governance. 15.1, the social strategy. The recommendation that the Council resolve to endorse the social strategy. Can I have Councillor Woolley and Councillor Merivasada? Would you like to talk to this?
It's reasonably self-explanatory as far as the report provides. It's been an interesting and interesting process to go through, interesting project to go through, and I mean that in a positive sense. I think with all these projects, we always want to get have more engagement or more feedback provided, but I still think it's quite indicative of what the community is desiring or hoping to see happen on these sorts of issues into the future. And yeah, I think it was a really worthwhile and timely project with the next item as well, which we'll get to. And it certainly helped us as far as with our dealings with principally the state government, more so than the federal government. It certainly helps us put a case for what sort of social infrastructure requirements we need and having some evidence behind it, in which we can attach to various timing cycles with that.
And it leads with our strategic goal of ensuring a livable community. So, any questions on this? Councillor Merivasada?
Thank you. Yes, a question for Mr. Higgins, please. Now that we go after this into the implementation phase of the strategy, who in the staff or which team will be championing this or looking after finding grants or generating initiatives or projects? How does this become part of the operation?
Through the Mayor, it's going to be spread across various functional areas of council. So sort of at the political level, if you like, between the Mayor and myself, we'll certainly be pushing it from an implementation point of view. And some things are a bit easier to deal with more quickly than others. There are others that rely on other agencies or funding from other agencies. So there can be a learning period, obviously, with those. But internally and between Stacey's role as work group manager and Oliver Strickland as our development officer does the bulk of our grant applications, it's going to be certainly relevant to a number of functions and focus areas within the organisation, particularly with grant opportunities. And certainly Shane Wells, our planning manager as well, has had a really key role in this, and particularly with the next item. That's something which is well and truly in the wheelhouse of the strategic planning function which he provides. So it's I guess it's a very good question, Council, because most organisations wish to develop strategies and to try and set themselves up to better meet their intent or why they're in existence for, but making sure that the strategies remain relevant and front and centre with your operations and your forward planning is absolutely key. So that's a task for us and a challenge for us to make sure that it's understood where it needs to be in the organisation and we start getting some of these things sorted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, all those in favour of accepting the recommendation? Unanimous, thank you. 15.2 is the active transport strategy recommendation that the council resolve to endorse the active transport strategy. Councillor Reid and Councillor Merrick-Sardar. Any questions or discussions on this transport strategy? No?
Oh, hang on. I think I'll take my lead from the previous question and ask similarly for this one, more in terms of what comes first in terms of there's a lot here, there's a lot of potential, and it's great to have that definition around what the options are. But I guess further to what you were saying earlier, how is that being prioritised?
Yeah, through the Mayor, there's a lot of recommendation between this strategy and the prior strategy, plus we've got the youth engagement project that we've also concluded as stage one. So it's a lot to get our heads around as an organisation and within our resource fit and limitations, how we actually make the most of this. And like I said, it ranges broadly from advocacy that the Mayor and I undertake on a daily basis in all sorts of weird and wonderful directions at times, through to what we've built into long-term financial plan that we are able to fund ourselves or either need grant funding for or do have grant funding for. So that's, we've just got to sort of, if you like, sort through and determine who's doing what and at what time. And we've got a range of meetings coming up with a variety of ministers, and it's, as I said previously, the focus of the organisation has changed and evolved, and having these bodies of work is absolutely crucial in putting our case, similar to we did some years ago with the economic infrastructure strategy that KPMG for us for SIR. That was key in having an evidence-based approach to what we needed and why. Similarly, these more nuanced documents just for Sorell are going to be really, really useful. So it's great to have them, but we're going to do something useful with it, and over time as well, not just a sort of flash in the pan approach. So we're still working out exactly how we carve it up and deliver it.
Thank you. I think it's also nice to see and to be noted that in forming these strategies, there's been a lot of consultation, both from the community and from professionals as well. So they're very relevant documents. And I think we can all have an input into making them work. Any opportunity the councillors get in advocating and promoting these strategies, I think we should do that. So all those in favour?
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Sorry, apologize. I have the same question for Mr. Higgins around the implementation and which sort of team or champion is going to be looking after this strategy.
Through the Mayor, it's effectively the same cast of characters as mentioned before. It's knowing, like there's just recently a large federal grant opportunity which sort of dropped out of the Canberra heavens on our desk, as it has for a number of councils around the country, that really there wasn't much forewarning about, and which is really significant for us if we can make the most of that opportunity, that it will really help us progress one project in particular very, very quickly. And as part of that, these two bodies of work are going to be a key element of putting our case in support of addressing the requirements of that grant. So sometimes we know opportunities are heading our way, and other times it comes completely out of their field. So having this prepared is a real benefit and asset to us to be able to get our house in order, if you like, to be able to put cogent argument as to why we need various services or infrastructure in Sorell.
Thank you.
Anything else? No? All those in favour of acceptance? Unanimous, thank you. 16.0, infrastructure and assets, no reports. So we'll move on to page 52. 17.1, community grants programme. Recommendation that the council resolve to approve a grant application from Tasmanian brick enthusiasts and decline grant applications from Sorell Community Network, Green Creek Community Market Garden, South East People Wall under the 2024-2025 Community Grants Programme, as per the following report. Are there any comments or questions, Reynolds? Oh, sorry, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Campbell, Councillor Larkins. Councillor Reid.
Thank you. I just want to clarify that the reason for the report is refers to the community grants policy. But am I correct in thinking that the rationale is that the refused applications simply don't meet the policy requirements? Is that what the report's saying?
Yeah, through the minute. That's the end result. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? No? Right, all those in favour of accepting the recommendation? Unanimous, thank you. Page 54, item 18.1, the executive summary financial report July 2024 year to date. Recommendation that the executive summary financial report July 2024 year to date be received and noted by council. Councillor Reid, Councillor Nicholas. Any questions on this? No? All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. 18.2. 2024-2025 capital budget adjustments. Recommendation that the council resolve pursuant to the section 82 of the Local Government Act 1993 to accept and adopt the below adjustments to 2024-2025 capital budget estimates. Can I have someone to move the motion? Councillor Nichols. Councillor Campbell. Any questions, discussions, comments? No? All those in favour of accepting the recommendation? Unanimous, thank you. Page 82. Item 20.1. Plumbing fees for Sharp Point Road sewage connection. A request to waive the fees. The recommendation that the council resolve pursuant to the section 207 of the Local Government Act 1993 to remit sewage connection plumbing application fees for the following properties. Would you like me to list the properties? Can I have a move? Councillor Drenius, seconded Councillor Larkins. Thank you. Any questions on this matter? Discussion? No? All those in favour of the recommendation? Unanimous. Thank you. Page 85, item 20.2, notice of intention. New public places bylaw, 1 of 2025. The recommendation that the council, in accordance with section 156, and that is one, of the Local Government Act 1993, the council resolves to A, make a new public place bylaw, and B, prepare a regulatory impact statement. Now, I'll just add, before we go on, that a number of pages have actually sort of disappeared out of the agenda. In the policy. So the public places bylaw policy, there's a few pages missing out of your agenda package, but they are on the screen. And I think we have a hard copy elsewhere. Councillors have been issued with a hard copy before. So can I have a mover of this recommendation, please? Councillor Larkins, Councillor Campbell. Any questions? Discussions? Councillor Reid.
Just clarifying that in earlier conversation, there was clarification around some matters, but because of the missing pages, I wasn't sure where it actually fitted in the policy, in the bylaw, which is the one around signage on wheels, effectively. So just a heads up on where that belongs in the bylaw, would be great. What heading it belongs under?
Mayor, if I may answer that question. You have to probably, if I take that as a question, I'll know this, because the reason we found out it wasn't there, because I went looking for it before the meeting. But basically that provision was just increased after discussions with councillors to broaden the scope of what actually a sign involved, and did include signs that were on vehicles and not just signs that were erected along those lines that potentially could have been parked cars or trailers and things like that. But I'm certainly happy to provide that specific tools to you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? No? Can I show of hands supporting the recommendation, please? Unanimous. Thank you. Right. Page 98. No roads and stormwater, no facilities and recreation report. So that takes us to item 23, questions from the public. In accordance with the regulation 31 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulation 2015, we will have questions from the public, please. Can I invite members to stand up and state their names, please?
Sharon Fotheringham from Corset. Just a few general questions. Could I get some information about the Penna Dog Beach Park? Are there any restrictive hours on that, or is that virtually 24-hour a day?
I'll have to refer this to the general.
Right, we're going to have to take it on notice. I don't know all our restricted areas, so I need to look that up. But it'll be in our dog management plan, include
Which is obviously the Webster Group. There, I can answer that, but I'm reasonably confident, Sharon, that is a dog exercise area, so there aren't any restrictions, I don't believe. But on the council website, there's a section on dog exercise areas that lists all the dog exercise areas and what the restrictions are. But my recollection is it's an exercise area.
I'm not really getting any computers, and I've just joined a new group, and Bunny of Australia, the first attendees, and they wanted to have a function there with dogs, and we just wanted to know what hours and were there any restrictions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Minucci, Primrose Sands. I've just got a couple of questions. But firstly, I'd like to just thank the council for what they're doing down there at Primrose. Around 15.2, you've got your strategy there for increasing transport, and I'm talking about footpaths. We have got a lot of residents that do walking. We've also got long mobility scooters. But the one question I have got is that, which I have addressed or brought up in the previous meeting, is the actual new footpath that actually is being put in from Tamrex Road to the corner of the Cotton Bluff Road. I kind of brought up that on the corner of Marine Street, there's an actual gully there, almost as deep as this one here in between your bench. And I'm just trying to work out, are we actually addressing that, or is that work now considered complete? And on top of that, the other section of the footpath has actually been actioned, and we've now got what seems to be another dog leg in what could have been a straight footpath. It should have been a straight run, but we've got another dog leg on the main street that runs around an individual property's, gully.
Excuse me, I can, with regard to the path and the Marine Street junction, that as it's constructed, that's it. So we're not proposing to make any further modifications to that corner. I think our Tim Watson, who's the project engineer, looking after that job, he emailed you that around the 16th of July.
He actually said the footpath was about 1.8 metres wide. The thing is, it looks like it has been widened just a short bit, but I suppose maybe the corner is no bigger. The area to actually, what I would consider to infill, would only be about 1.5 metres, 2 metres. So what I'm saying is we head up this footpath, and then we do a 90 degree to the right, and then we do another 90 degree to the left. And we're actually just going round a corner that probably could have just been filled with blue metal or a pipe put through it and made it all quite safe. And I can't understand why that. I mean, maybe it's logical to me, but not logical to planning. And I might be not seeing something that the actual engineers are seeing. But like I said, the second part of the footpath was put together, and it looks like now, and there's put up our bollards, which are wonderful for safety, because that was a very dark area, and we have quite a bit of traffic that goes through quite quickly. But I couldn't work out, again, why we're actually sort of diverting around these man-made gullies that are just there for water catchment, and why we aren't kind of planning in a, holistic way to make something like the first time. I just think we're kind of creating problems for ourselves.
Yeah, the second matter, I know that the second half, if like the western half, once it gets past the vacant large property, I know there's a number of issues with the actual title boundaries of those properties weren't where we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
And there's also some drainage issues to contend with along there. It's not the easiest road reserve to build across, but I need to ask the staff around this specific example. I haven't been out there since they've done the other to Carlton Bluff Road, but I can take it on notice and find out about that one.
Thank you, yeah. The second thing I was going to do is, I know I haven't been in the meeting for a while, but I just wanted to thank Councillor Melinda Reid and also Councillor Marisol Bureau-Quesada for their attendance at the community sessions that were held at O'Kine's at Dodgers Ferry, Primrose Sands and Dunalley. I think it's really important moving forward that your presence at events where community are being impacted is really important, and to actually, part of a council is the community. we don't have to get everything that we want, but the thing is, being able to be heard and having our voice listened to is appreciated and pretty important if we're moving together. So I thank them for that. Oh, sorry. Also, I've had, there's a Senate hearing happening next Wednesday, representatives from this council attending. They are.
Yeah, through me, I'm attending that.
Yeah.
That's, it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't know which day it is, but I've
It's
got,
Wednesday, yeah,
yeah, I've got
Wednesday the 28th.
a time slot early in the morning for myself.
Yeah.
On behalf of the council.
No worries, yeah. Thank you.
Could I just ask you what time your attendees, please? Just roughly, you said early in the morning.
Yeah, just give me a second, please.
It starts at 9 o'clock.
In theory, I'm around 9:30 on Wednesday.
Thank you. Dear Rebecca, Dodgers Ferry. Now, I'm not sure whether you guys can remember, back in June, it was a very shocking night, and it was pouring down with rain. And the junction of, I remember, Old Fawcett Road and Arthur Highway, there is one light on the Arthur Highway side of the road and nothing on the other side of the road. It's a white light, and I'm not quite sure the distinction of a white light and a yellow light, but it doesn't show up very well. And I had sort of a bit of a fright turning the corner there. I noticed on the way in tonight that on the junction of, and I don't know, it's the Lewisham Road, I just drive down roads, I don't always know what they're called. I just get there and hope that I'm shown. So it's the Lewisham Road turn-off, which is closer to Dodgers Ferry, and I don't know whether that's still Old Fawcett Road or whether it's Carlton River Road. That's got two lights on it, one on the corner as you turn and one on the opposite side. And I want to know why there isn't a better lighting on the highway, the outer highway. It's, as I said, it was the people who live at Dodgers, if you would have a look at that on your way home. I know some years ago I complained about the light through Neighbourhood Watch, and they did put on the light because I came past and missed the turn off, and my husband, who was alive at the time, told me off because I missed the bloody turn off because I didn't see it, the light wasn't there. So, as I said, there is a distinction between a yellow light and a white light, and I'm not quite sure which it is. But there were two yellow lights on the Lewisham, sorry about that in the hand turn, on the Lewisham turn-off there, which would be better applied to the highway. Does that make sense? But if you guys can have a look on your way home to Dodgers, and I know there's a few of you who live down that way, and perhaps, except that I'm not talking rubbish. But I think it needs to be.
Talk rubbish. It's all very relevant.
Would that be a state?
I don't know, I mean, I don't know whether it's a council or state roads, but I think something should be looked at. I mean, it was sort of, on the June meeting, it really was a bloody awful night. Bloody, I said. And my good friend here sort of had trouble getting through. I mean, coming through was shocking.
Well, I'm very pleased you arrived here safely and got home safely.
Well, I've got to come and annoy you guys.
But Robert has just taken a note
Jolly
of
good.
that, and he will contact State Roads and ask them to do that.
Something that's not terribly relevant, but on social media, there was somebody complaining about a bridge that's been moved off a path. I'm not sure where it is, whether it's at Lewisham, I don't know. It's just, it was mentioned on Facebook tonight, and I had a quick look.
The Lewisham
Yeah,
foreshore project,
there's a little bridge somewhere,
they're removing that one.
which would, I presume it's through a little, perhaps gully. So if people can't get through, they're going to clamber down the bank and sort of cause more erosion. Again, as I said, I haven't got a clue where it is, because I don't walk that far.
It may be, associated with parks doing the
Yes.
I don't
removal of
know.
the foreshore. They're gonna, I didn't mention before, but as part of their works, they're gonna construct 2 formal pedestrian accesses down to the beach from the foreshore, so there's 2 controlled locations rather than just being quite a big random, not properly constructed access points. But I don't know any other details around what else they're taking away.
It's just so many
Stretch.
things. The other thing that bothers me is once upon a time, that I live on First Avenue and there's a little curvy beach around there. There used to be a set of steps halfway around. As I get older, I have difficulty climbing over rocks. And the only way I can, if I walk around the beach and I want to cut back home on the road, I have to go to where the old jetty was at the end of your Reardon's farm. Again, I don't know the name of the jetty road. Popped into my head. So I was rather disappointed because I thought, I'll go for a walk and I'll come up the stairs because I don't walk very far. It's against my religion. But those steps have disappeared and I don't know why. Disappointing.
Recently disappeared.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't walk that far that often. I mean, I'm not one for hiking. But it's just that I noticed there used to be steps there some time ago, but I can't tell you how long ago. And I don't know why they've taken them away. It's not Jetty Road.
Maybe they became unsafe, I don't know.
They seemed all right at the time when I last used them.
Through the mayor, we haven't, as you know, we don't own that beach, nor do we want to. So we haven't touched those stairs. I know the stairs you're referring to, but I haven't been there for a few years. I don't know. They might have just, through natural processes, have disappeared, or we haven't removed them.
Yeah, they just sort of, poof, they went. Don't know where they popped up. That's all right.
Just a thank you to the general manager and his men. The speed limit has moved 250 odd metres closer to 40.
Noticed it.
I'm going to court you that.
You know,
I'm on 10%.
I wouldn't let you know anyway.
Just goes to prove things do happen.
Through me, I didn't know it had happened actually. Well, actually, I was surprised, but
It was a warning. Friendly warning from when you're speeding back to the office.
yeah, that's good. We'll take that.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the gallery, the public?
Just one thing, for the ladies and gentlemen who came to our Christmas in July, I've been told it was very good. I haven't had any complaints and the pub's quite happy if you have us again next year. If you'd all like to come, no excuses this time. I'm going to try to arrange it to not clash with the school holidays.
I will make it next year.
Jolly good.
Me too.
That's it. Right then, thank you everybody for coming tonight. Can I close the meeting at 7:05?
Thank you very much.
Can you go into closing?
Yes.
No. No. You're on.